In the Parsha, the Torah tells us that Bilam, when he went to curse Klal Yisrael, Torah goes to tell us, Vayachush es Chanasono, he himself went to hitch his own donkey. If you read about Bilam just from the Parsha, what the essence of this man was, self-absorbed, egotist, megalomaniac, a man who he lived only for himself and he believed the world was at his beck and call. He was a wealthy man, he was a statesman, a world statesman. The Gemara tells us he's one of the three advisors to Paro. He's the one who actually convinced Paro to impose the final solution, which was the bondage of Klal Yisrael in Mitzrayim. A man like this should hitch his own donkey. Such a lowly task. He had slaves. They should have hitched a donkey. So Chazal tell us, what do we learn from here? That Asinu Mekalkelis is Ashura. That intense hate disrupts protocol. It's inappropriate. It disrupts protocol because it's hate, as is pointed out from Chazal, against the Jews was even more intense than Balak. Balak says just distance the Jews from me. They shouldn't minimize us, not to destroy them from the face of the earth. When Bilam said to Hashem, I was asked to drive them off the face of the earth, totally destroy them. So how does a man like this? The answer is, Asin Mekalkel says Ashura. Intense hate disrupts protocol. Avram Avinu, 137 years old, he's going to the Akedah. He has slaves. He has Eliezer Avdo, who went with him to the Akedah. He was Nasi Elokim. He had wealth. He should hitch. And Torah says, Vayachvosh es Chamoro. He hitched Yashkim Baboke. He rose early in the morning and hitched his own donkey. Why did he not delegate it to one of his slaves to do this? Mikan Sha'avo Mekalkel Sashura. Chazal tell us that intense love disrupts, overrides protocol. Now, how do we understand Ava Mekalkel Sashura, Sin Mekalkel Sashura? Bilam, a man of this ilk, how does he allow himself to be disgraced, to do such a menial task? When a person is consumed with hate, or lahavdil, he's consumed with love, at that moment, all that exists at that moment is the objective, whatever that objective may be. The person at that moment doesn't exist. It's only the objective. The Aked exists. The Ratzon Hashem, the will of God to bring my son as a sacrifice, all that exists. At this moment, there's no Avram, there's no man who's 137 years old, there's no Nasi Elokim. All that exists is that. So as a result of that, there's no such thing as protocol. Bilam, as a human being, was the most despicable, detestable, abominable human being that walked the face of the earth. A personification of evil. At that moment, there was no Bilam. All the objective was to destroy Klal Yisrael. So whatever that takes, without hesitation. Vayachush es Asono, he hitches his own donkey. We find there's a mitzvah saseh in the Torah of After Hashem Elokecha. Mitzvah saseh, positive commandment. There's a mitzvah of Yiras Hashem, to revere God and to love God. If a person would ascend to a level of Ava, where it would be all-consuming, you realize there's no Bechira. One, at that moment, achieved the level, there's no choice. Because all that matters, all that exists, choice has to do with what I want. What do I want? I have to choose. There may be an alternative to this. There's always the what about me, there's the I. If a person has Ava, if Ava Mekalkel is Ashura, it's the overriding factor, because you consume with Ava, there's never a choice. There's only one thing, because choice has to do with the person. Ava has to do with the objective. The objective is to do God's will. That's the objective, to do Ratzon Hashem. So therefore, Ava is really the ultimate force, an overwhelming, all-consuming characteristic. One assumes if you have that, you have it all. Chazal tell us that called Olam Kula Nizam B'Shulchanina B'ni. The whole world is a paschal that comes out from Chorev every day that announces a heavenly voice. The world in its entirety is sustained in the merit of Reb Chanina ben Dosa. Sh'daylo b'kav charuvin me'erev Shabbos and erev Shabbos. A small measure of carob. That was he subsisted on, nothing other than that. And it was v'daylo, was sufficient. So there's a Maral in Pirkei Avos regarding Gemara Brachos. He explains what's the difference between Yiras Hashem and Avos Hashem. Revering God and loving God. And we know Ava is greater than Yira. Love is greater than reverence. Reverence is because I understand who you are. I wouldn't dare transgress to violate your word because I revere you. So let's say a person has a certain stipend per year, a certain allocation, and he feels he needs more. And you would ask him, would you want more? He says, of course I'd want more. But if that's all God gave me, who am I to ask? He made that decision. But the question is, what is his need? He feels the need, he feels the lack. A person who's Avos Hashem, who truly loves God, love is reciprocal. He loves God because he sees in every aspect of his life God's love for him. So the question is, why did God not give him more? He did not give him more because it's not in his best interest to give him more. It's out of love that he was denied. So if he was denied out of love, which is not being denied, he's withheld out of love. If you say to him, would you want more? He said, definitely, I don't want more. I don't want more. Because if I was supposed to have more, God would have given me more because God loves me. So therefore, the person doesn't want more. That's the person who is at the level of Avos Hashem or Yiras Hashem. Reb Chanina ben Dosa, it was Dailo b'kav charubin. How do you subsist on a b'kav charubin, a small measure of carob? Definitely, there must have been hunger pangs, whatever it was, but it's Dailo. He didn't need more. He didn't want more. Why didn't he want more? Because since he was the level of Avos Hashem, all that exists is the will of God. If God says, this is all you need because I love you and giving you more is not your best interest, so do I want more? I don't want more. Therefore, Chazal tells us it's dailo. It was sufficient. He wouldn't want more. But what's Avo? Avo's Mekalkels is a shura. We all know, Chazal tell us that a person who has a conflict of interest, he's posuledus. He's disqualified as an aid. A conflict of interest. Especially if it's a positive interest. What's the reason? Because at that moment, you lose your objectivity. Aid has to be impartial. He has to be at a level of being objective. The moment he's Ava, what does Ava mean? All that exists is what we call Avas Atzmi, self-love. If it's self-love, what about your integrity? What about whatever it may be? The Torah tells us it's impossible not to be conflicted. It's an impossibility, regardless who you are. Therefore, you're disqualified as a witness. You cannot testify. So what is the key element or the key characteristic the person has to rise to? Because the only reason why we have disruptions in our lives and we have questions and hesitations and we get stuck, so to say, is only because there's the me, there's the I. The moment you have Avo and Ava's Mekalkelis Shishura, then there's the only thing that exists is the objective and there's no longer the person.